Welcome to video number 1 on embroidering on garments. My name is Patricia Gates and my company is Purely Gates Embroidery. We're known for our trademark Mylar embroidery, which is machine embroidery that I've specially digitized to incorporate Mylar. So far, we have over 160 collections of designs, and they're available either on CD or as a digital download on our website, purelygatesdigital.com. In this video, I'll be giving you what I hope you'll find to be great tips on embroidering on garments. The product we call Mylar makes my embroidery designs sparkle without using any metallic thread. In fact, with our designs, you will use the embroidery thread you already own, and they will sparkle and shine as if you used a specialty thread. It's the Mylar that creates the sparkle. It's your thread that creates the color in the designs. And because we own the trademark, Purely Gates designs are the only authentic Mylar embroidery designs. All of the sparkle comes from one color of Mylar. Here I'm going to show you how easy it is to skip the dread of metallic thread with Mylar embroidery, while sharing my techniques for embroidering on garments. All of the designs shown in these 2 videos are Purely Gates embroidery designs. What is Mylar and Mylar embroidery? Mylar is an opalescent, iridescent thin film that is placed within the stitches of a design that makes the design sparkle. This is the only color you will need. We have our own brand of Mylar sheets, which has been thoroughly tested for launderability. Our Mylar won't lose its sparkle or flake out of the design, and you don't need a special needle when stitching one of our designs. As long as you use one of our Mylar embroidery designs with our Mylar, we guarantee that anything you stitch our designs on can be laundered. That's washed, dried, and ironed. Only designs created for use with Mylar will sparkle and shine. You can see some of them here. Because our designs are created for Mylar, you will use the embroidery thread you already own and follow the included color change chart to know when to lay down the Mylar. Then all you have to do is change your threads. These designs stitch just like a regular embroidery design. Also, you will not stabilize any differently than you normally would for a project just because it is a Mylar embroidery design, and you will not use a special needle. Later on in this presentation, you will see how easy it is to stitch a Mylar embroidery design and how it's not much different than stitching a regular embroidery design. Choose the garment you want to embroider. I'll be demonstrating using this denim jacket. The denim jacket, with its thick and flat fell seams, linings, facings, and large metal buttons, provides many opportunities for learning and practicing techniques. You will be able to utilize these techniques for any hard-to-stitch areas of a garment. I will also include tips for embroidering on a t-shirt and on a baby's onesie. Decide on the designs you would like to put on your garments, and be sure and test your designs on the same weight of fabric that you will use in your actual project. You need to keep in mind that not all designs are appropriate for all fabrics. Even if you have a well-digitized design, if it's stitched on inappropriate fabric for the design, it won't look good in the end. Print out templates of the designs you want to use for your project. You want to prep your templates before you lay them out on your project. Write the design number within the design itself. If it's a mirror image of the design, add the letters M-I to the design number as shown here in the second image. Here in picture 1, you'll want to mark which direction is up on the template with an arrow on the placement line. In picture 2, fold that template precisely on the horizontal and vertical placement lines. In picture 3, trim the template around the design. Pictures 4 and 5, refold the template and make a clip at each end of the vertical and horizontal placement lines. In picture 6, make a tiny clip at the center fold. And in picture 7, this is what your template should look like. Place your prep templates on the garment to determine layout of the designs. Play around with different layouts as I have done here. Each time you find one you like, take a picture of it so you don't lose the idea. Then play some more. Taking pictures helps visualize the finished garment as a whole and provides a layout map for execution. Once you have a layout you love, pin the templates to the garment so that you won't lose the placement. If your garment is lined or has facings in an area that you wish to embroider, you'll want to make sure that the lining or facing does not shift during embroidery, thereby making the garment hang funny. The jacket I'm embroidering has a facing in the shoulder area in the front and a lining in the back yoke. These are 2 areas I intend on putting a design. I secured these areas by stitching a grid with my sewing machine. I used a water-soluble thread in the bobbin and a regular thread in the top. Stitch your grid with the facing or lining side up so that the water-soluble thread ends up on the right side or outside of the garment. Once the embroidery is done, you can simply spritz it with water and the bobbin stitches will dissolve and disappear from the outside of the garment. Mark your garment. Using a marking tool, make a mark at each notch as in picture 1 and center of the template as in picture 2 for each design you want on your garment. In picture 3, mark on the garment which direction is up per the marking on your template. Here's what your markings will look like if embroidering several designs on your garment. Here's how to mark a t-shirt for a simple centered placement of a single design. In picture 1, you'll want to find the center of the shirt from sleeve to sleeve. Lay a long ruler from armpit to armpit and draw a line. Then find its center. In picture 2, draw a vertical line at this center mark, making sure it is perpendicular to the first line. You'll lay your template on the t-shirt and match the center of the template to the centered vertical and horizontal line. If you like the design centered here, then you're done. In picture 3, if I want my design higher, slide the template up the vertical line and lay a ruler over it, matching the long edge of the ruler to the template's black center horizontal line. In picture 4, remove the template but leave the ruler. Adjust the ruler if needed to line up the lines on the ruler to the horizontal line you already drew as a reference to make sure your line is straight. Now draw the design's center horizontal line. In picture 5, to avoid confusion, I usually draw a circle around the center point of my placement lines for each design, as I did here and on the jacket back. Once you've mastered doing a simple centered placement of a single design, use your printed template for design placement in other areas. Stabilizers. Getting great results out of embroidery is all about gaining experience. Following suggestions for stabilizers is a great way to start learning about stabilizers. Now, the type of stabilizers I like to use for garments are a water-activated adhesive tearaway stabilizer called Hydro Stick or Wet and Stick, and a medium-weight tearaway stabilizer. These two stabilizers are my go-tos when embroidering on garments, whether they be woven or knit. The first stabilizer is Hydro Stick or Wet and Stick. The hydro in the name means that you will wet it to activate the adhesive. This tearaway stabilizer will remain behind the design with any excess around the design being torn away. Don't stretch the garment when placing the stabilizer. The adhesive on this stabilizer sticks like cement and does not allow for movement. And it does not gum up the needle on your machine that can lead to thread shredding and needing to have your embroidery machine serviced or cleaned. Once your embroidery is complete, you will remove the hoop and simply put the garment in the wash. The wash will remove the adhesive and release the excess stabilizer from around the design. Take the garment out of the wash and tear away the excess stabilizer. Medium weight tearaway stabilizer. I like to use this stabilizer to supplement my other stabilizers. I slide a piece of the medium weight stabilizer behind the hoop, which is known as floating. The floated stabilizer will become attached once the stitching has begun. Because I've already fully hooped a piece of Hydro Stick stabilizer in my project, this medium weight tearaway stabilizer only has to be big enough for the design I'm stitching and centered beneath the hoop. Two things I like to do before I put my stabilizer on my garment or on any project is that I'll open the design on the screen of my embroidery machine, as in picture 1, before I place the stabilizer on the back of my fabric. This way, you will know which way to orient your stabilizer. The open design on the screen of my machine tells me that I need to place my stabilizer on my garment horizontally, as in picture 3, not as in picture 2. The second thing I want to do is to make sure that when I put the stabilizer on the garment, that I'm actually putting it where it will completely fill the hoop and not be crooked. To be more accurate in my stabilizer placement, in picture 1, I will transfer the center point I drew on the right side of the garment using a straight pen and chalk to make a mark on the wrong side of the shirt, as in picture 2. Knowing the orientation of the design as it's shown on my embroidery machine, I use my hoop grid as an aid in picture 3. I lay it on the shirt as it's turned wrong side out, lining up that center point I transferred from the front to the back with the grid. This gives me a visual for placing my stabilizer. In picture 4, I have put my hoop grid inside my hoop, placed it back on the wrong side of the garment, and then slid the stabilizer underneath the hoop. It may be hard to see in this picture, but you will notice that my stabilizer needs to go beyond the neckline of this shirt in order to completely fill the hoop once I hoop the garment. Picture 5 shows my stabilizer attached to my garment. It is the Hydro Stick that I sprayed with water and then placed on the wrong side of the garment, making sure that a portion of that stabilizer lays within the neckline. Hooping the garment. If you own an embroidery machine that has a positioning camera on it or some other cool positioning feature, why would you need to try to be so precise when you hoop? First of all, you want to use the smallest hoop available for the design you're embroidering for stability. If your design fills or almost fills your hoop and you did not hoop well enough, you'll not have any room in the hoop to adjust or move the design where you want it. The more you hoop, the better at it you will become, so consider every project as an opportunity to get better at hooping. Shown here are two items I use regularly when hooping, a hoop grid and a hoop collar. If the fabric in the garment is thin, I'll normally use my hoop collar to hoop along with the garment. A hoop collar is made of felt, and when hooped with your stabilized fabric, simulates hooping a thicker fabric and provides a better grip. Check out my hooping tips video on my website, purelygatesdigital.com, for more information on what a hoop collar is and how to make one for every size hoop you own. I also use a hoop collar when I'm hooping only stabilizer. My hooping tips video shows layering your stabilized fabric and an easy way to hoop and get your design where you want it, so I won't be showing that information here. I am showing, however, how to pick up the garment once the garment is stabilized and the inner hoop with the grid is aligned on the garment. In picture 1, the shirt is rolled up on the sides and I am grabbing the hoop from each side. You can pick it up either by grabbing either the sides or the top and bottom. You will then insert this into the outer hoop using the method in our hooping tips video. In picture 2, this is how my shirt will be positioned once my hoop is attached to the machine. Your shirt will basically be wrong side out so that the wrong side of the front of the t-shirt lays against the bed of the machine. You will then tunnel down to reveal the stitching area. I like to also pull the sleeves wrong side out to keep them out of the way. You may pin the side rolls down if you like. Watch the design as it stitches to make sure that nothing falls within the stitching area that may get caught or stitched into the design. If you are stitching on something small like a child's shirt or onesie, first of all, make sure that the size of the design is appropriate for the size of the garment. In picture 1, you can see that I've already applied my Hydro Stick stabilizer to the onesie and hooped it. This garment was then turned wrong side out. In picture 2, I attached the hoop to the machine. In picture 3, I'm rolling the edges of the bottom of the garment to open up the embroidery area. In picture 1, my embroidery area is now revealed and I have pinned the rolls in place. In picture 2, at each color change, I like to advance the design by one stitch before I hit start to see where the arm of the machine is going. If I need to clear that spot within the hoop for the embroidery, I have time to do it rather than at a panic when the machine is off and running. Picture 3 shows the embroidery area clear for stitching at the bottom area of the hoop. I hit the start button, and as my design begins to stitch, I'm holding back the sides. As it moves toward the upper portion of the hoop, I move the shirt out of the way and promptly hit the stop button so I can adjust the shirt in this next area of stitching. In picture 1, I have shifted the rolled edges of the shirt to reveal the upper right corner where the design is stitching. As it moves over to the left of the upper hoop, I stop the machine, adjust the shirt, and then hit start again. In picture 3, you can see that my design is now stitching in the center of the right-hand side of the hoop, so it is now the area that is cleared. Embroidering on small items is possible. Just stay with the machine, watch it as it's stitching the design, and pay attention to where the hoop is moving to next. And most importantly, know where the stop button is. Here you can see the 4x4 hoop I used to stitch this design and how its size relates to the garment. After embroidery, I threw the onesie in the wash, and I used cold water because I didn't pre-shrink the garment. And here's the result. Thank you for watching this video. Also be sure and check out our video number 2 on hard hoop areas of a garment. Thanks for watching.